over on the grid with William Antrobus, who's been pretty unstoppable this weekend. William, tell us about it.
Yeah, it's been a very good weekend, starting off with pole overall and then doing both the heats as well and just doing the pre-final. If we can have a good final now, it'll be good for us, so I'm hoping for that.
You know, and over the past couple of years, 2022, you got really close, 2023 when you were with Thule Motorsport. Do you think this will be your year to take that win at Larkhall?
It's a matter of whether it's luck as well on your side, because sometimes you can have great pace, great everything, and not have the luck on your side. But at the moment, I've got it, so it's whether or not I have it now.
Well, we'll shortly find out if you've got it then, William. Good luck to you. We'll also go over to the second row of our grid with Harrison Whitcomb. Harrison said a bit earlier on in this weekend that it was damage limitation for him after qualifying. I don't think that's the case anymore. Harrison, we were just talking about, you know, your previous comment this weekend about damage limitation. Has that changed for you now?
Yeah, that's definitely changed. We're now back in it for the fight for the win, because we definitely had a really good pace when the last race. Theoretical was very quick, so now we just need to go find it.
Best of luck to you then, Harrison. We've got Scott Marsh starting behind him as well. Scott, obviously out in Europe, competes for the Tony Kart racing team. That's all we've got time for now, as the bell has just gone. Best of luck to the junior Rotax grid. Last race of the day. Andrew, let's hear it.
Let's hear it indeed. As I say, one last race to go. It's going to be another good one, this, and a great opportunity for a bit of history perhaps as well. Sam Pollitt Racing have never had a finals victory in the Wera British Kart Championships. They got very close with Austin Oman earlier today and at Pier 5, but William Antrobus here on the front row of the grid on pole position. In a fantastic spot to try and repeat what he did a few weeks ago in preparations for this event when he won the round of the West of Scotland Kart Club that preceded it. Let's get ready for it then. Race number 25 here at Larkhall on Event 3 weekend. The Junior Rotax final is next. Let's take you through the grid then of 34 drivers for this Junior Rotax final, the second one of the year. William Antrobus on pole position. He's joined by Jack West of KR Sports, Thomas Behrman and Harrison Whitcomb start on row number 2. Cameron Nelson and Scott Marsh go from row 3. And it's O-plate holder Harry Bartle and James Anagnostiadis on row number 4. Joshua Turnbull and Thomas Min-Spearing start on row 5, ahead of a rejuvenated Cole Denham on an all-DHR row 6, joined by Jacob Ashcroft. Row number 7, Kenzo Craigie starts alongside Ariman Bansal. Lewis Goff has recovered brilliantly, starts on the 8th row of the grid alongside Finley Buck. They're ahead of Owen Neve and Hugh Moulton on row 9. Joshua Smith and Charlie Neve start on row number 10. Matteo Palazzo and Kai Veach go from row number 11, ahead of William Archer and Noah Barham on row number 12. Kai Clark and Joe Anderson start on row 13. Lizzie Mentier and Ryan Gill on row 14. Charlie Cox and Harrison Crowther complete row 15, ahead of Brandon Truman and Adam Wooden on the penultimate row of the grid. The field is completed by Leon Hasty and Jacob Woods. Are we good for a start first time? Looking good. We are good for a start first time. 15 minutes plus 1 lap are underway. Can they all make it through the first couple of corners? I think James Anagnostiadis was a little bit wide there. It's a good start for Antrobus. 2 karts off in the background. And it's, oh dear, it's all got a little bit close through turn 3 and 4, to the extent that the second half of the field nearly have to come to a complete stop there as they went through the complex. And that's going to have dropped a number of drivers down the field. Kenzo Craigie is not one of them. He's a little bit on the dust there. Look at the tightness of the pack coming through turn number 6. In and through to complete the end of lap number 1 then. It is William Antrobus who has the lead by nearly half a second. Cameron Nelson has got up to second place. Harry Bartle third. Joshua Turnbull has gained 5 off the start as well. Who's lost out in all of... Well, Jack West's lost out in all of that. Starting on the front row is now P31, has lost 29 positions on that first lap. Charlie Neve has had problems as well, down 14 to the very back of the grid. Joe Anderson and Ryan Gill also lost out. Thomas Behrman's in trouble as well. Thomas Behrman down to 23rd place. A loss of 20. Harrison Whitcomb's also in trouble now. As somebody's off in the dust, coming through, and I think into turn number 5. Harrison Whitcomb down in 16th place right now. And that really does change things in the championship. Right now, as things stand, Antrobus would lead 9 points ahead of Bartle. Thomas Minspearing would be a further 15 points back, and then Whitcomb a further 4 points back. This is, of course, the first final that has run for Junior Rotax this season. The round results declared of the pre-final for PF International, so there is an element of going into the unknown for these drivers. Longer race, of course, 15 minutes in total, and the majority of it still remaining. Antrobus controlling things right now, looking to do what he did in the pre-final and just edge away from the rest of the competition. Cameron Nelson there in second place. Here's though Harry Bartle right there in third. That's where he finished the final for the club round in preparations for this British Champs round 2 weeks ago. He'll want more than that. He'll want more than that on this occasion. There's a new fastest lap of the race from Harrison Whitcomb. In 16th place right now. Now first penalty of the race, and it's a big one. Harry Bartle plus 5 second penalty. Doesn't necessarily mean he can't win the race. We've just seen one driver win by more than 5 seconds on the road, but it's going to make it very difficult now for Harry Bartle. This is the same situation that Callum Bradshaw had. Meanwhile, there's an almighty scrap going on for 4th place with Thomas Minspearing trying to hold off Joshua Turnbull and not quite able to do so. Turnbull through into 4th place. Cole Denham's in there. James Anagnostiidis is in there. Jacob Ashcroft, Kenzo Craigie, Lewis Goff. I've got to say, Lewis Goff, what a tremendous return. We had real concerns yesterday. He had an incident in one of his heats. Retired. Holding his wrist. Thoughts like, oh dear, is there a potential race weekend ending moment happening there? He's come back. He had to come through the repechage, of course, but has got himself into the top 10 now. There is Kenzo Craigie down the inside of Jacob Ashcroft. That was over 7th place. Hugh Moulton's back in the game as well. Had a tough time in the pre-final, but has had some really strong pace, mega pace at times for Hugh Moulton and Nicole's racing efforts there, back into the top 10. Lizzie Mencia is also driving through the field. It's up to 17th place. Leon Hasty as well. Leon Hasty in a similar position to what we saw with Teddy Pritchard-Williams in the seniors. In terms of what we've seen through 2 weeks ago, through pre-practice, through yesterday as well, there is the pace in the number 9 to be at the very front, but bad luck in the pre-final means it's a drive through the field today for one of the major Scottish hopes for this weekend. Things have simmered down a bit in this group from 4th downwards. Got themselves into a rhythm. There's Jacob Ashcroft in the number 38, stepping up, of course, from Minimax last year. Through to complete another lap. New fastest lap of the race from Cole Denham, 49.99 seconds. Cole Denham's had a much stronger weekend of it. Had a torrid time at PF International. Not the kind of round results he would have wanted, but he's got his championship going this weekend, I feel. It's good to see a smile on his face earlier in the weekend as well when we had a talk to him as part of our We Are the Champions feature. It'll be coming out in due course on the Karting UK YouTube channel. If you've not subscribed already and you want to get all the latest features and behind the scenes from the Vera Tools British Kart Championships, do give that a follow. Right now, though, it's looking good for our race leader. There has been a change for 2nd place on the road. Harry Bartle has got past Cameron Nelson. I should actually say that right now, Bartle is still getting a spot on the podium because there's so much defensive work going on here at the front of this group with Joshua Turnbull that a more than 5-second gap has grown between the top 3 and the rest of the field. Quite unexpected, similar to what we saw, of course, with Joshua Graham racing off the front of the seniors. Thomas Spearing is very keen, I think, to get by on Joshua Turnbull here. Might be getting a bit frustrated in this pack that runs down to Lewis Goff in 9th place. I'll tell you what, Harrison Whitcombe's not too far behind it as well. End of lap number 8. Thomas Spearing again just looking to the inside of Joshua Turnbull. Joshua Turnbull's got very good speed off of the corners, through the traction zones. Like here, he just edges away a little bit. This is where he's probably most under pressure. The slipstream at its best through this part of the circuit. Again, yeah, Thomas Spearing's not able to get onto the rear bumper there. See him going through the bumps through turn number 5 over this section of circuit, which the TV cameras don't quite do it justice. There's as the drivers cross, as the is now down the inside. Spearing's got the advantage and through past Turnbull. Turnbull not too happy about that. Now gets overtaken by 2 of his teammates in the shape of Denham and Ashcroft. Yeah, it's just as the drivers go over the edge of where the old track used to sit and into the newer extension that was laid down in 2019. It's a little rise for the drivers. Just as they go through the little kink to the right, they have to deal with and get the kart straightened up to get on the brakes for that very tight hairpin. Just produced some interesting racing. Meanwhile, back at the front of this group is still all over 4th place. The thing is, they are losing a lot of time here. As down the inside goes Cole Denham. That's going to be Spearing. Another visitor to the sausage curb on driver's right. Actually dealt with that pretty well. Opened the steering, got onto the grass, got off the curb, and was able to return to the circuit without having lost too many positions. Others are joining this affair, including Harrison Whitcombe. At the moment, Whitcombe would be going down to 3rd place in the points. Cameron Nelson with this performance right now. Look at that. And in fact, Whitcombe has to take to the runoff there. He was side by side with Joshua Turnbull. He's going to lose out to Lewis Goff as well in the yellow and black helmet, possibly to others also. There are your live championship scores. So Antrobus would lead going towards Warden Law, 371 points, 7 points clear of Harry Bartle. Lovely stuff there through by Cole Denham. Cole Denham has a little gesture there to say, come on Josh, let's get on with this now, because we're a group of 3 in the same team, now clear of the rest. We are 10 seconds down. Now I can see out of my window there's been quite enough for Kenzo Craigie. He's actually ended up back at turn number 6. A number of bollards have been displaced. This may trigger a neutralisation of the race, because there's also, I think, a bit of water strewn over turn number 6. No problems for William Antrobus right now. In fact, William Antrobus has just got through, and Harry Bartle's run wide, just seeing out of my window. And yes, slow procedure has been called. That's understandable, because the marshals are going to need a bit of time here. And off the road has gone one of the DHRs on the wet surface. It's Cole Denham. Cole Denham going over the wet patch, so the displaced blocks, there's water in them, that's now been thrown onto the circuit. Cole Denham, there he is, has fallen off at the start of the slow procedure, with obviously on slick tyres, caught him out, and has lost 4th place. Now, the other thing that this is going to do is, if this closes the gap together, Harry Bartle is going to lose his advantage of what was around 10 seconds ahead of the rest of the field, and is now, well, the 5-second penalty is not going to disappear, of course, is now going to stand to lose a lot of positions. Kenzo Craigie's out of the race. So Kenzo Craigie was one of the karts involved. This was coming through turn number 9, down the hill. 2 or 3 karts off to driver's right. Kenzo Craigie ended up through the red and white bollards and onto the part of the track where turn 6 is. So you can say from that, but that's how we ended up with water on the track with the bollards there. You can see some of the repairs going on. So Craigie is out, but this is an absolute disaster if you are Harry Bartle, because that 5-second penalty that at the time was just losing you second place to Cameron Nelson and no further is now going to put him down probably around 15th place. There is the state of one of the... that's Brandon Truman's kart, I think. Well, both Brandon Truman and Leon Hasty from this race are both pretty much at the same time. Such is the damage on that Thule Motorsport machine. I couldn't actually tell whether it was the number 87 or the number 9. All drivers are okay. That's the most important thing. Barrier has just about been repaired. So we could be going back to green this time around. Doesn't change things for William Antrobus, of course. He's just got to keep his focus at the front of this field. Should be confident knowing he was able to drive away from the rest of those behind. He's going to have to do all that hard work again ahead of Cameron Nelson. I think the most interesting driver to watch here is going to be Harry Bartle. How does he deal with this? How does he deal with this now with this 5-second penalty? He's going to hope that we go back to green on this one. He needs as much race time as possible to build that gap back up to as many drivers behind as he can. As I say, he only was losing one position because he had a 10-second gap over Ashcroft and the rest of them behind. We are going to go back to green this time around. William Antrobus takes us back to full speed. And away we go for the remaining 2 minutes on the clock. This is a great opportunity for Cameron Nelson, who did have some very good race pace. He set the fastest lap of the race before the slow procedure started. On the way to turn 5, it's a clean start for the 31 drivers remaining. Harry Bartle feeling the need to defend from Jacob Ashcroft there in third place into, and Bartle's down the inside of Nelson. And they said it's still going to be a little bit slippery through turn number 6. Whittaker's out on the curb. I think Anagnostiadis was having a moment there as well. That part of the circuit will clear up over the course of the next couple of laps. This is, well, water on circuit is not what we were expecting at all this weekend, but it's come here in the final lap of the race, and it is leaving that specific part of the circuit very, very treacherous indeed. Bartle has got through into second place on the road, so a 5-second penalty would at the moment leave him down around 20th place, where Charlie Neve is, 5.68 seconds off the main group. 45 seconds to go. Down the inside, Turnbull on his teammates. It's all gone wrong for Cameron Nelson. Here we go again. Surely all the drivers are going to be aware of it now that there's not a lot of grip, especially if you get off the racing line. They have all dealt with it. No, they haven't. 2 drivers off. One of them is the 51 of Hugh Moulton, I think. Sorry, the 61 of William Archer. Another one involved, I think, might be one of the KR Sports. We'll try and catch that through in a moment. It's Adam Wooden. It's Adam Wooden who gets back on the circuit, but becomes the latest driver to fall foul of turn number 6 at the end of this very dramatic Junior Rotax final. William Antrobus has got full control again. What a job this has been from William Antrobus. Sam Pollitt Racing, in everything that's gone on in this race, is 1 lap away from securing a first victory for this team in the Vera Tools British Kart Championships. They've all got through turn number 6 again. I think the number 17 was having a few problems that time. That was Harrison Crowther. So lost 5 or 6 positions from 13th. On to the final lap then. William Antrobus, who's absolutely dominated this weekend in Junior Rotax, can tick those corners off now. Is in the position where he'll take the championship lead. There's been a change on the road for second place. No, there hasn't been a change on the road for second place. Bartle is still there. The stopwatch is his biggest friend right now. He's trying to hold off Ashcroft, Turnbull and Marsh through the treacherous turn 6 one more time. And look, he's still having trouble there. Ashcroft's one wide. Turnbull's run wide. Ashcroft's back off the curb, but has lost about 6-7 positions. But William Antrobus is going to take victory at Larkhall. It's going to be a first win in the Wera Tools British Kart Championships for Sam Pollitt Racing at long, long last. SPR stand on the top step, and it's a fully deserving victory for the man who has dominated at this place over the last month. He took the win in the club round 2 weeks ago. He takes the win here in the Wera Tools British Kart Championships and the championship lead by at least 7 points over Harry Bartle. Bartle's second on the road. Scott Marsh goes through and gets a podium for Strawberry Racing. Cameron Nelson, I think, well, actually, yes, Cameron Nelson will end up back on the podium after all of that happened in the last couple of minutes, because Bartle's penalty will move him down to around the 11th place mark for that 5 seconds. So it's Antrobus, Marsh, Nelson, your podium. Thomas Minspearing, 5th on the road. Jack West, what a drive from Jack West. He started on the front row of the grid. He fell down to 31st, and he came back all the way to 6th. What a crazy race for Jack West there. Joshua Turnbull P7, Lewis Goff P8, Finley Buck 9th, James Anagnostiidis, a much better weekend than at PF for the Argenti driver P10. The top 15, Jacob Ashcroft will be gutted about that last moment there through turn number 6. Kai Clark, great to see Kai Clark up 13 positions in 12th place. Joshua Smith 13th, 14th for Harrison Whitcomb, loses the championship lead. He's actually down to 4th place in the live points now, ahead of Noah Barham there in 15th on the road. Harrison Crowther with a race that, well, gained 14 places, could have been even more. It's 16th place for him. Charlie Neve, Thomas Behrman, Ariman Bansal and Charlie Cox. There is a really good sight to see because this has been a long, long time coming for Sam Pollitt Racing. They have been knocking on the door in the Wera Tools British Kart Championships, particularly in Rotax, for such a long time. They came so close a few weeks ago at PF International with Austin Oman, but they can finally say they are, as a team, winners. And their first winner in the history books is that young man there, William Antrobus. 2 drivers in the top 10 as well. I saw Lewis Goff congratulating his teammates. Harry Bartle must be absolutely gutted. He'd done everything to all but negate the penalty, but that slow procedure that came out, which was not of his control, of course, rendered all that hard work for nothing. Let's have a look at some of the replay highlights then from that one. As we've seen throughout the weekend, brilliant start from Antrobus from pole position. Knew that was going to be a very important part of the race, and he already had a good gap over the rest of the field. Cameron Nelson had come through from 5th place. Quite a few drivers from 5th on the grid, taking early gains through lap 1. Quite a few drivers in trouble as well on that first lap, including Jack West. And more running wide there. I couldn't even tell you which driver that was through the dust. Quite early on, an intriguing scenario started. It's the 4th place battle. It was all behind Thomas Minspearing as Josh Turnbull got down the inside. This is what opened the gap for Harry Bartle and Cameron Nelson further up the road. At this stage, it looked like it was a 1-2-3 that was absolutely set. And then a whole stream of drivers fighting, to say, over 4th place for the championship points on offer there. Thomas Minspearing holding that position for a good while. DHR drivers taking it in turns, it would seem, to get down the inside. That was Cole Denham going through. Thomas Minspearing for a moment being out beyond the sausage curve on the exit of turn number 6. Harrison Whitcomb, brave move there, had to take to the blue runoff. Lost himself a few positions. We then had an incident off camera that triggered a slow procedure for the replacement of barriers and the intersects between the exit of turn 9 and turn number 6. What the drivers didn't also fully realise is there was a bit of water down. You can see it there, which caused quite a few problems for drivers and really shook up the order. It was all about picking your way through just that specific point of the circuit. Everywhere else was absolutely bone dry. And you see the slippery surface flag out there. A number of drivers losing out. Even here on the last lap, 3 of the DHR drivers all having problems. That was the opportunity that Scott Marsh took to step through and take 3rd place, but it was no trouble at all for William Antrobus. Under all that pressure, all that expectation of the form book, takes the first win in the history of Sam Pollitt Racing at this level. And the record books will show that he did it by 1.73 seconds ahead of Harry Barton. You see there the reaction. That's what it means. Celebrating there, Lewis Goff as well, his teammate, who came home in 8th place. And who knows where this team could go now for the rest of the season. Because not only have they got that first win, they have the championship lead by 7. Let's head down to Nicole, who's hopefully got the winner, William Antrobus, with her.
Over in Parc Fermé with junior Rotax winner William Antrobus. William, a long time coming for you, I think, that win.
Yeah, it was such a great win, and a clean sweep as well. Like my first ever clean sweep, and at the British. Unbelievable.
You know, we saw you kind of check out 3/4 of the way through the race. You were cleared off, and then, slow procedure, water on the track. How did you deal with that?
Mainly, I just tried to look for where the dry patch was, and it was mainly in the middle of the track. But it was so tough, and then literally the lap, it all went down, and before the double yellows kind of thing, what's it called? We all just came in, and then I just come out with a huge lead, and I was like, whoa, what's going on here? So then all of a sudden I just see Battenberg, so I was like, oh, it's going to be a tight race at the end, but came out to win it in the end.
First win for you, and first win for Sam Pollitt in a British Kart Championships. Other than Sam, who have you got to thank for this weekend?
I'd always like to thank my dad, always on the spanners for me, always being there, doing everything. I'd like to thank Lewis Brown as well, and Nige for all the stuff they've done this week. Pollitt as well, and Ted Bradbury, he's been a real good help this weekend, proper good mentor as well. So yeah, and I'd like to say hi to my family at home, whoever's watching, hello. I'd like to thank the family for supporting me these last few years as well. It's brilliant.
Congratulations, William. We'll let you run off and congratulate with your dad.
Thank you.
Our last podium of the day is for the junior Rotax category. Please welcome, first of all, your driver in 3rd place, driver number 27 for Dan Holland Racing, Joshua Turnbull. In 2nd place today, please welcome driver number 41, also for Dan Holland Racing, Cameron Nelson. And your winner, also making it a first victory in the Wera Tools British Kart Championships for Sam Pollitt Racing. Please welcome your round 2 winner, driver number 57 for Sam Pollitt Racing, William Antrobus. And last but not least, of course, your winning mechanic, Dave Antrobus.
Sensible face. Big smile. Go back smiling.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the podium ceremonies.